What's up, everybody? I'm back with another tool deals video, and today I'm going to be talking briefly. You're going to follow me through this journey of using this GoTrax Rival folding e-scooter. Now, I wasn't sent this. I bought this, paid my own $298 for it. I'm getting this because I have to take my car to the shop tomorrow. I don't have a ride back, and I don't want to have to walk an hour and a half. So I figured this might be the next best thing. Goes 15.5 miles an hour. 12.5 mile distance, 250 watt motor, 220 pounds max weight. You got to watch that because I wanted to get a cheaper one, but it could only hold 120 pounds, so that obviously wasn't going to work. So I got this, and it has 8.5-inch air-filled tires, which we have plenty of tire pumps here. So this is what it looks like, and I want to say the box is light. I saw people in Walmart saying this thing is heavy. Anyway, something else that I noticed on the box might be interesting is the battery. So the battery is a 36 volt 5.2 amp hour battery. So in my mind, I'm thinking, wow, we should figure out how big of a battery we can get from like Makita or Metabo HPT. Metabo HPT only makes 4 amp hour battery, so that wouldn't really help this out any. But yeah, so I might experiment with that later on. So anyway, let's go ahead and unpack this thing. Here's something. Whoop. Well, I'll tell you what. Okay, here are the handlebars. Styrofoam. You know, originally I was going to get a bike, but the bike might mess my car seats. You know, the seats in the car up. I don't want to do that. But this could easily lay in the back seat, and it could most certainly easily get in the trunk. So I like this alternative. Plus, I don't have to do any work. So there's that bonus for the same price of a decent aluminum bike. So I'm going to go ahead and put this together, let you know how that was, and I'm going to go ahead and put it on the charger because I got to drop the car off early in the morning. All right, first up, let me show you what's weird. So immediately, you know, I haven't gone anywhere. I'm trying to unlock this thing. And you see on the instructions it says, press on the outside of the fender to unlock the scooter from the hook. And it has you doing this to the thing. So I'm like, okay, well, the hook goes in there and it's latched. So yeah, I'm pushing this down. That's not working. I'm pushing on that. I'm squeezing the outside of the fender. None of that's working. So let me show you what you got to do. This is irrelevant. Or maybe mine's defective. I don't know. But that don't work. If you push it from up here, though, from back here, the thing comes loose, right? So yeah, you got to push the fender down, but doing it from here doesn't work because it doesn't pull it enough to get that. So yeah, I gotta say that's kind of a poor design for $300. Maybe for like $85, I could see something like that, but All right, so that's what I got so far. I'll keep checking in. All right, so we're back. So we haven't gotten very far. We were able to lift that thing up, and then you unscrew the little hook, this thing, right? And then you push the handlebars down in there. Now we're running into a problem with this cord here. So let's read the instructions. It says, take the cord. First of all, look at this picture. What are they doing? What are they doing in that picture? I don't know. It says, take the cord that is attached to the hook and bring it to the front of the tiller. All right. I assume this is the tiller. I assume that. Pull the handbrake towards you and insert the round metal piece into the opening. It doesn't specify what opening, but if we use some common sense, we can assume that that's what they mean. String the small silver cord through the solid piece of the handbrake. All right. Okay, so when we come around here, we see there's a little line, gap. So I assume I'm doing this with one hand, sorry. Let me use my stomach. I've packed on a few pounds. All right, there we go, hold it in place. I'm gonna stick that down in there, right? Boom, like so, let it go. And string it on through. Voila, right? No, something looks wrong, doesn't it? It's floppy. All right, now let's read. make sure the metal piece on the red cord is pushed fully into the handbrake. What? All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to assume that red means blue because they're opposites. All right, so we're going to do that. And they say just push it and make sure it's in there. In where, sir? So let me just show y'all what y'all need to do. So if you see there's a big circular gap right here. All right, so there's a circular thing. There we go. So there's a circular gap there. We're going to push this up there because honestly, this is going to rub against that. So you don't want to mess the cable up. So that's why this is there. So we're going to push that in there. All right. And we want to push it in there to the point really where it doesn't come out. Now, there you go. You see, it's just a little cubby hole for this to sit in. It's gonna, there you go, as far as it goes. There's no snapping, doesn't do anything. Yes, if it wants, it could just pull right on out. That's it, but that's all. So there you go, there you have it, it's in there. All right, so we're done with assembly. It wasn't terrible, but you do need to know what you're getting yourself into. So with this thing, when you stick it inside here, and that's what you want to do, you want to tuck it inside of this before you tighten it. So you're going to tuck it inside and you're going to push it up and then work the screws in there and then go ahead and tighten them up, and it'll keep this nice and taut. As for filling up the tires, the recommended PSI is 50 PSI. So the front is super hard to get to. You have to unscrew that, and where's the little piece? All right, you're going to need this. So what this is, it's basically an extension. So you would unscrew this, and then you would take this end and screw it on there. I'm not going to do it because when you screw it on, all the air comes out. So it'll be 0 PSI when you do that. And then when you hook it up to whatever inflator you're going to use on this end, when you're done inflating it to 50, it's going to get there quick because the tire is little. You want to unscrew it from the base, not up here because it's going to let all the air out again. So yeah, so not from up here, but from down here. Then, but can go real fast, I highly recommend you overinflate it. If you overinflate it, when you take this off, you're going to probably lose about 5 to 10 PSI. So kind of just play with it. Just expect to fail the first time. Maybe fill it up to 55 PSI, hurry up and untwist it, and then test it with a gauge. Now in the rear, it's a lot easier. You don't need the extender because that thing poke out pretty far. So you should have no troubles there. So now it's charging. It's going to be red. It says it'll take about 6.5 hours to charge. And that's it. So let me show you the bell. Yeah, no one's hearing that. No one's going to hear that. So that's worthless. But it does have a headlight. I'll let you guys know how that works. And yeah, to be continued. Okay, so I put about 10 miles on this thing. And I got to say, it's not bad. I mean, it's actually quite enjoyable. It's a little scary. There's a couple things that you'd have to get used to, like setting the cruise control, but this is the throttle anyway. But if you hold it down and hold it in a single place for 10 seconds, it'll set the cruise control. And you don't have to set it just at 15.5 miles per hour. You can do it at 10 miles per hour, 8 miles per hour. You just have to make sure you're, feathering the throttle properly and hold it in the exact same spot for 10 seconds. The bell obviously is useless. You need like a little horn. There is a way that you can change gears, but there is a way in the manual talking about changing gears, first gear, second gear. I just leave it on first gear. You'll be fine. You don't have to really, that's not a big deal. The light, I'll turn on the light, and this is actually, this run did better. And I had set on cruise control at 15 miles an hour a couple times. Navigation took me on the highway. Yes, the highway, but it's like country road highway. So it's not like big city highway where it's 4, 5, or 6 lanes. But I only lost 1 bar. The first time I drove, I lost 2 bars. So, it seems like the more you charge it, and use it, kind of breaking the battery, it seems like it does a little bit better. But let's go ahead and turn on the light. And I had the light on too for um, part of my trip today. So there's the light, which isn't too bad. Let's go ahead and close the garage so you can see. All right, I'm going to turn off the light. And, I wouldn't really want to, actually, I wouldn't want to be out in the dark with this, but that's not terrible. All right. But you going 15 miles an hour, that's not all that enjoyable without any protection on. So am I going to keep it? I'm not. And that's for a couple of reasons. When I was going over bumps, this was clanking and banging. You see it's kind of flimsy, but this probably isn't a big deal. But there was some clanking there. But the biggest reason are these little tires. Now, I don't recommend you get an 8.5-inch tire. That's for I don't even want to say kids, because you will be safer on larger tires. So I would recommend getting at least 10-inch tires. I want to try some 10-inch tires. They have some with 11-inch, 13-inch tires. I don't think you need to go 13, but the bigger the tire, the better it'll be. They also have some with 2 wheels in the back, little tricycles, which obviously, you don't need to kind of get it going. Once you get going, it's pretty stable, right? You're not gonna. I mean, you could fall, but you probably won't. So anyway, that's my biggest gripe with it. It's just this tire size. They definitely need to be larger because the ride is really rough. So I'm gonna. I don't know. You guys said you wanted me to review some more, so I'll look into getting some more. I'm not spending $1,500, $2,000 on one though, because that'll be a hard thing to return. I know good and well I ain't keeping that. So anyway, hopefully this was helpful. Hope you gained a little insight. I will look at the 10-inch tire GoTrax, and I will report back on how that is. Also, another thing about this, the brakes. The brakes are so sharp. You have to be really careful and practice, because my goodness, if you get started and go, you're going to flip over the handlebars. You're going to flip right over. I recommend you have protection, helmet, the whole elbow pads, knee pads, all that, because if you get squeamish, don't let your kids on this, because they're going to panic and go, and do this. This thing is going to go, and it stops on a dime, and it's going to flip. That's the other thing. It's really front heavy. Like the back, this thing is super light. All the weight's in the front, and that's kind of a problem. If you just walking this through grass, pushing it, this part is going to lift up. This is going to hit a small bump, and this part is going to lift up. So that's another thing I don't like. It's not really balanced, but I do like the fact that it's super lightweight. This thing is super lightweight. Obviously, you get the bigger ones with the bigger batteries that go further with the bigger tires. You're going to increase the weight. But this thing right here, anybody could carry this around. It's like what? It feels like 12 pounds, maybe that. All right, so I'm actually dismantling the GoTrax now, and I know I didn't get any footage of me actually riding the scooter. It's kind of difficult to do that while I'm riding it, right? I went to the park and I was really testing out the brakes again. And you won't flip over the handlebars. If you like on rough terrain, you might. But if it's smooth, flat surface, you won't. You're not in any danger of flipping over anything. It'll just leave a skid mark, like how I used to do when we were young with our bikes and scooters. But it does stop very sharp. While I was dismantling it, I was taking the handlebars off, and the battery came out with it. So I thought you guys might think that this was interesting to see the battery. The GoTrax has a 36 volt, 5.2 amp hour battery. And I would say, for its size, it performs pretty well, 187 watts. Man, they have, I've seen other batteries that, hold a lot more or a lot larger than 5 amp hours. But yeah, I would say this one performed pretty well. So anyway, I'm going to be packing this up. I think I will grab another one with 10-inch tires to see how that performs and how I like that one. And then I'll report back on that. But I'm just trying to decide on whether to get one with a seat or one without a seat. I think one with a seat will be a better experience. because they are generally faster. And then, of course, you know, I don't know. I just feel like it might feel more stable. So anyway, that's the GoTrax. This was $298. I feel like for $199, this is a great deal. $298 to me is still a bit much. So anyway, that's it. Hopefully this was helpful. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer them. See you guys next video.